Well, hello again, and welcome to the world according to Sam Marshall. I'm absolutely delighted to be able to introduce my guest this week. It's none other than Yewande Rolph. Now, those of you that follow my videos on a fairly regular basis will know that Yewande gets mentioned in nearly every podcast that I do. In fact, I've just told her that and she's just giggled. The reason, you Andy, that you get mentioned is I reference networking for good and I reference how I met the people. And you and I actually connected on LinkedIn. I think it might be as long ago as 18 months. And we have 122 shared connections on LinkedIn.
Ooh,
And a lot of those are actually my Scottish people.
okay.
So that I think is somehow how I got linked to you. And you are very, very good at networking. And every so often there would be a LinkedIn message from you that says, I go to this really great networking online. Would you like to come along? And I fobbed you off for ages. And we got to about October last year. And I thought, do you know what? Yes, I am going. And I went along, and the rest is history. I'm still there 6 months later, and it's wonderful. And the people that I get to meet in networking for good all have wonderful things to say about you. And that's why you get mentioned all the time. So, my lovely viewers, who is you, Andy? Well, she's my friend. But she is a multi-award winning sleep strategist. She's got a background in wellness. She is a wellness expert and a hospitality advocate. And if we have time, she'll explain to you where hospitality advocate came from, because that's a really good story. But you, Andy, we are going to talk about sleep today. But I also want to set the scene and say you have your own range of natural fragrances, which I don't think you talk about enough. Those of you that tuned into Santa Mike or Pirate Peg, recording fairly recently, will have heard him reference you, Andy, as well, in terms of her customer service, her packaging, and the small little thing from her side that she did that made a huge impact and difference to Santa Mike. So I'm going to shut up now. You, Andy, introduce yourself to the people.
Hello, everybody. My name is Yewande Rolph, and I love helping people and supporting them in their wellness. I started my company about 13 years ago in this June 2026. I started in 2023 because I have a background. My son had really sensitive skin, and I was able to help him with his skin. And I started making products for him. I made too many, and then I saw a banner saying craft fair. So I went to the craft fair in 2012, and no 20 yeah, it must have been 2012 actually, yeah. And then I started my company almost a year later in 2013 because I decided to not do my job anymore, because I was working as a database analyst, database specialist professional. That's my kind of geeky job. And then I wanted to be at home with my boys at 3:30 every day, so I turned my passion into a business. So it's wonderful to be able to help people in that way and support them. And then people asking me questions about how did you help your son with his skin? I made sure that he drank enough water, ate properly, and I looked after his skin naturally using things like chamomile. So yeah, it's been a wonderful journey actually. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love that. And I love the way that it's all about within the family first
Yeah.
and making sure that everything is going really well there. So, sleep strategy then.
Yeah.
Let's talk about sleep. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so I joined networking for good because everything went online after COVID, and it was very difficult. So because I was outside there talking to people, doing craft fairs, expos, events, and everything shut down, I thought I'm going to go online. And I met someone in Richmond. As you said, I do a lot of networking for Ren. And he said, oh, there's a really good online meeting called Networking for Good, and there's some really nice people. And then I found the link and I joined, and I was hooked since then, since July 2020. So I've been going regularly since then. It's been amazing. So I know people there, and I love them, their ethos, the way they vote for charities every week, the way they support each other, because it's not just about making money, it's about also making a positive difference in people's lives and in the world, and making sure that, you know, we things we do are sustainable. We educate each other and we support each other's posts. And also, you know, we can meet regularly online. We carry on meeting it online. And some of us who can meet face to face do meet face to face. So it's really, really good. So sleep is one of those things that I gave them a choice. There was a lady, she was running the meeting. She's not involved anymore. She said, oh, what would you like to talk about? Because everyone who is like a member has a chance to do their kind of a 10-second talk. And then it's put on the YouTube channel for Networking for Good. And I said, I can talk about how I make the product, so I could talk about sleep, because a lot of my customers have been saying, you know, help us sleep. They've been buying lavender spray to put on their pillow. They've been buying lavender bag to put in their bedroom. They've been saying, oh, what can you do to help me sleep? Because I am qualified to do hand and foot massage as well. So she said, oh, talk about sleep, because people are really struggling about sleep. She scheduled me for about 6 weeks time, but there was another networking I was going to online, and they said, oh, I want you to talk to us about sleep, which I did in about 3 weeks time. So since then I've had different people ask me to talk about sleep, auditors online, obviously Networking for Good. And then I met this guy called Keith Grover online again, and he did this thing called Start Your Own Clinic. And he says any business owner can start their own clinic, and it's got to be free and it's got to be regular. And I thought, oh, I start my own sleep clinic. And then I started it 5 years ago, May 2021, every single week, all through the year, apart from the holidays like Christmas. But it was too much because people just didn't come during the summer and half term. So I thought I'd make it term time. So it used to be Fridays and it was Thursdays, now it's Tuesdays. So depending on, because I was looking after my mum and helping my sister, we were both, so the day shifted depending on which day she needed to work. But we stuck to Tuesdays because Tuesday seems to be quite a good day for most people. Right. Sometimes I shift it to Fridays. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, so people meet for half an hour and talk about how the strategies to sleep better. Yeah.
I think that you mentioned COVID and how the world changed for everybody.
Yes.
I would say almost overnight.
Yes.
I believe that I am one of the very fortunate people. I've always been able to sleep.
Oh,
when I was a baby in a cot, my mum used to hoover around me and I would stay asleep.
Good.
And she always references that she had a very, very good friend who had a son who's about 3 months older than me. And the parents tiptoed around him. And if he was asleep, it was, shh, don't make a noise. And he's grown up to have, he jumps at every noise and he has a very bad sleep pattern. I think I could sleep on a clothesline, if truth be told.
That's good.
We talked about the fact that people don't get enough sleep.
Yeah.
So what do you say is the sort of the optimum time in sort of hours for sleeping?
That's a really good question. So there was this survey by Waitrose, and they, about say 47% of people said that they felt they didn't get enough sleep. And the World Health Organization recommends that adults probably between about 18 and 65 get between 7 and 8 hours sleep. It's more for teenagers and more for children. And people who are older, possibly about 7 hours, because when you're old, when you're over 65, sometimes it's difficult to actually sleep. But if people struggle with sleep, the most important thing is rest. And also with sleep, you can't really predict sleep. It's one of those things that if you rest, sleep should come in and you shouldn't resist it. So people who struggle with sleep, is the main thing is resting. And I always say there's two things people can do to rest is maybe squeeze the whole body and then relax and then fall into that relaxation, and also deep, slower breathing, because those, by doing those two things and practicing them, you would have rested. And when sleep comes, don't resist it and just sleep, because some people, when sleep comes, as you said, they can think, oh, I'm sleeping, but no, just allow yourself to sleep. And it takes practice as well. So that's one of the reasons I try and have the as much as possible people come in every week, because they can come back and say, this is what I did, and then improve on it, because it's all improvement. I mean, I'm improving and learning as well, even though I'm doing it for 5 years. And some people who came to my first ever meeting still come occasionally as a top up.
Oh,
So yeah, and it's free. It's always going to be free, because if people want extra stuff, they can book it with me, extra services, depending on what they can afford. If they want to have a sleep spray, you know, some people are happy with lavender, which is the most sold one, but I've got a whole host of other ones that people can, you know, try.
wow. So my mum put me into a very regular sleep pattern as a baby. I
That's
was put
good.
down at a certain time and I was
That's good.
woken up at a certain time.
That's good.
And that appeared to be sort of the backdrop for me all through
Yes.
school and into my 20s. And then I moved out and lived on my own. And at that point, 20s, I was going to bed around 11:30, midnight, at night, obviously. And I was up again at 6 a.m., showered and off to work. And that seemed to work quite well for me. I had the energy, I had the enthusiasm, and off I went. I had a busy life at the time. So working 9 till 5 or 8 till 6, as it was more frequently, home, grab something out of the freezer, throw it in the microwave, go upstairs, change into a scout uniform, and head off that night all over Buckinghamshire. Get in at 11 o'clock at night and go to bed and sleep and start again. And did that. And then most weekends I was away at scout camp. But it didn't seem to have any negative impact on me. Roll on forward about 30 years, and I'm diagnosed as diabetic, and my blood sugar control wasn't very good. And what I have found is that if my control is off and I've got high blood sugars, I'll sleep longer because it makes me very sleepy, but it's very interrupted sleep. And I now have a continuous glucose monitor, so I can look and see what my sugars do overnight. I woke up this morning thinking, oh, Lord above, have I got to open an eye? And my sugars had been all over the place all night. Couple of nights ago, I woke up going, yeah, I feel absolutely phenomenal today. And my blood sugars had been on a very steady downward trajectory. So I find that quite interesting. Earlier on, I spoke with Shell, who is another one of our colleagues from networking. And we were talking about society, and we were talking about atrocities in our society, and we were talking about mainstream media. And it seems to me, and I'd be interested in your opinion here, Yewande, seems to me we can get 24-hour media through our laptops, on the television, or whatever. For me personally, if I watch a fiction program that's a little bit gory, I have nightmares. If I'm watching awful things unfold in front of me, I don't sleep well. What's your thought on that?
I agree with you. I mean, a lot of people I speak to have their phones in bed with them, and I strongly would not, you know, advise that at all. It's best, as you said, try to do something calming, ideally 2 hours before going to bed, and then put the phone down next to the bed, or in another room, ideally, or at the bottom of the bed. I'm quite disciplined because if I have the phone with me, I would just, I know that this is my bedtime and I'll stick to it. So I choose my own bedtime. I'm an owl, so I tend to sleep later. And then I do tend to stick to it. And that's one of the fundamentals, actually. So you're right, we shouldn't do any. And even like some people have horror movies and things in their room. No, it shouldn't be there. Or books, that kind of thrillers, or anything that tries to kind of like bring your heart rate up. It should be calming, and try not to listen to any bad news and things like that. I know it's not easy, but sometimes we can have a measure of control and say, oh, I'll read the news in the morning after I've done my morning routine, things like that. So yes, we should try and do things conducive to rest, relaxation and calm before going to sleep, because it kind of plays on our minds. And one of the things I advise people doing every night if they can is, obviously if they're too tired they just go to sleep, but if they can do like a nice routine which really help, is to do like a brain dump for 60 seconds, write down everything on the brain, and then say something like, I'll deal with things tomorrow, so that everything's out of the brain, and then it brings kind of like a calmer. Obviously other things may come up, but you can say, well, I'll deal with that tomorrow. You can remember to put it on your to-do list. Yeah,
I find that I wake at 3 a.m. Bing!
very common.
I'm fully awake. Hello, right? Who's woken me up? What's going on? And
Very
I will
common.
get up and have a comfort break. And I've been doing some research, and for me, it's a lack of magnesium, and I need to have a little bit more magnesium in my diet, and then perhaps this won't happen. But what I did find a couple of nights ago, I really normally have no problem at all. But there was one thing that was preying on my mind, and it was financial. It's a short-term cash flow problem because something hasn't quite come together. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, I was actually wringing my hands, and I was sort of rocking in a darkened bedroom, looking around, going, okay, how am I going to fix this? Now, actually, when I got up the next morning, I knew exactly how I was going to fix it.
That's
It
good.
really wasn't a problem. It just meant I had to talk to my husband. Maybe that was a problem. I need to talk to my husband more, who knows? But at 3 o'clock in the morning, that was a huge, insurmountable problem that was keeping me awake. Now, today's society, I imagine there are lots of people that have similar thoughts.
Yes.
My mum, she's not with us anymore, but my mum used to say, oh, I can't sleep at night. She'd be out for the count at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Absolutely. And I said to her, somehow we've got to find a way to just shift around your sleep pattern.
Yeah.
So what we ended up doing, we gave her a little alarm clock.
Yeah.
So we said, you know, one of these things that it was either a tomato or an onion shaped bit that it cooked in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So we said, as you sit down, twist that to 60 minutes, put it at the side of you.
Yeah.
And then if you fall asleep, the longest you're going to sleep is for an hour.
Yeah.
And this seemed to work quite well, and actually managed to get her sleeping back into kilter.
That's
because
good.
an hour is long in the day.
Yeah.
But an hour feels like a day at night.
Yeah. I
And
understand.
And I think there are a lot of people that are awake at night that just think it goes on forever, and those voices in your head.
Yeah.
I've loved what you said about lavender bags and lavender bath. And I also love what you say about some sort of wind down routine with the deep breathing.
Yeah.
I've started following Tai Chi on YouTube.
That's good.
It's free.
Yeah, it's good.
And we do hours. We do about 30 minutes at 9:30, 9:45 in the morning. And then I've started doing another half an hour at about 9:30 at night.
That's nice. That's good.
And it really is about that slow breathing
Yeah, brilliant.
and just the slow movements. And for
Yeah,
me, I've got time to do that,
that's
and
good.
that's working well.
Brilliant. Yeah, I agree, because there's been studies of people who've done Tai Chi helps with sleep because it makes them more aware of their body. And as you said, it's like, it's meditative and breathing, and it kind of gets you into that habit of breathing deeper and slower, which you would do anyway when you fall asleep. But all those things can be done in bed, because I said to people, if they wake up in the middle of the night and they've kind of, where am I, what's happening, there's the rest. I call it rest. So the first thing is review the situation. What is it? Do you need to do anything? If it's an emergency, deal with it. But if it's not an emergency, quite often you don't know why you're awake. So the next thing is ease. Put your mind at ease. Put your body at ease. Try to, because we can panic. Think sometimes when I've got a meeting in the morning, I'm thinking, I can't sleep. What am I going to do? I'm like that even now. And then I have to follow my own advice. And then S is slow breathing, slow breathing, slow breathing. And it's not easy to practice it because your mind is saying all those things, but your mind is protecting you. So you allow your mind to say things like, oh, I never sleep. Of course. And then I say to myself, even though my mind is saying, I never sleep, I do sleep. If my mind is saying, oh, I've got a meeting in the morning, just acknowledge it. Yes, I have a meeting in the morning, but I'm going to put effort into resting. I'm going to put deliberate rest. And then the T in the rest is release all tension. So what I do is I just flop by just resting, and then I try and do like a body scan and release all tension from head to toe. And then once I keep doing those things, I eventually fall asleep. Eventually, it might take longer than I think, but I will. But at least I'm resting. So I remind myself that I'm in a dark room with my eyes closed and I'm getting some rest. And that's what I'm doing, what I can control. I'm not pacing up and down, which I used to do when I was little. I can't rest. And I'll pace up and down when I was about 18. And no, don't do that. Just do what you can to rest, and then maximize the chance of going back to sleep. And we will go back to sleep eventually.
I many years ago, I needed to really relieve a lot of stress that was in my life. It was a busy time at work. I was a senior manager. I had a 1.5 million pound budget and I needed to give profits back to the company. It was pressure, pressure, pressure. And someone said to me, you need to have an escape. You need to be able to close your eyes and conjure up something that calms you immediately. As I went on throughout my career, I became a trainer and I taught management and I taught team leading. And one of the exercises that I teach even now is there will be a place, a person, an animal, or a season in which you feel completely calm, completely safe, and everything is well with the world. No one can tell you what that place, person, pet, or whatever is. That has to be for you. For me, it's what I consider to be a Caribbean island. It it's probably an island that I would have seen on James Bond, if truth be told. So something like a long white sandy beach, and it will have palm trees coming out from the side. There'll be seashells, and I'm sat on the beach and I've got my feet just at the edge of the water. The water is a clear crystal blue. It's lapping over my toes. It's warm. So it's definitely not in Britain, is it? It's warm and the sun is beating down on me and I feel warm, I feel relaxed, and I feel good. That's mine. And I can then actually slow my breathing with that image.
Brilliant.
I can create that image using Canva or using ChatGPT, whatever, and I can have it as a physical image in front of me. That's my go-to. Other people, it was pets or people that make them feel good. And I went into one, there might be a smell or a sound that makes you feel really comfortable. Whatever it is for you, that's what you conjure up. You close your eyes, you bring that to you, you concentrate on whatever that sensation is. And when I wake up in the middle of the night, that's what I conjure. And normally that will send me back to sleep quicker than counting Shaun the sheep jumping over the wall.
Yeah, brilliant. I like that. And I do say that to people as well, because they can bring that into their sleep. And that really, because we can't think of more than one thing at the time. We try to, but we can't. So if we concentrate on that, the fears and the anxieties and all the insecurities about sleep can kind of be put aside, and we can think about what it is that makes us comfortable. And not only that, I say to people, wear comfortable clothes, have comfortable soft things around you. It could be silk, it could be satin, something that you really really like, and you feel kind of really nice in your own bed, and you feel, as you said, it's a nice sensory experience that supports you to get the best rest, relaxation and sleep.
Yeah. So have you put you on the spot now, have you seen these sleep stones that are out there? They're like okay, they're like porous bits of rock, and they'll have different scents popped into them. I had one for anti-snoring.
Oh, I've never heard about sleep stone for anti-snoring.
No, they're really not good for anti-snoring, according to my husband, at all. That might just be that I am unlucky, but the idea was these stones are impregnated with whatever scent, and you put them next to your bed.
Yeah.
You leave it open for about half an hour before you go to bed, and then you drift off. So that didn't work for me. Actually, I'd be quite interested if any of my viewers have tried anything and if it works for them. But what does work, and you've alluded to it a couple of times already, is a pillow spray or a room spray.
Yeah.
Now, I used to sell, I am going to call it an inferior product. I used to sell a product that's nowhere near as natural or as good as yours. But that could be sprayed onto a pillow about half an hour before you go to sleep and would aid sleep for children from 6 months upwards. How did you come across room sprays and sleep sprays, and what made you go down that route?
Good question, because when my son was very little, he had he had eczema, he had cradle cap, he had rashes, he had loads of things wrong with his skin. So I did my best to read upon what to do holistically. And I mentioned before, I made sure he drank enough water, made sure that he had proper food. It's hard when they're a teenager though, because they go out with their friends and they eat other things. But when he was little, I made sure that he didn't have sweets. My firstborn didn't have sweets for the first 3 years of his life. We just kept him away from the sweets, which is really good. The second born, it wasn't so easy because his brother was eating sweets sometimes. But there's just good eating, just regular good eating. So I started making all these things. And then one time I thought, oh, I'd experiment with room sprays because I was reading about them. Then I used vodka and I used water. And I just started making them. So his favorite is orange, sweet orange. And then I made one of lavender, and I thought, oh, no one's ever going to want lavender spray. The first one I ever made, I only made one and a test, and the lady said, can I have two? And I said, oh no, I've only got one. New people won't ever want them. So at the moment, I probably make about 33. I know. Different ones, including bergamot, rosemary, and people just know me for making them. And there's a lady, her favorite one's bergamot, and I don't think there's anyone else I know who just makes plain bergamot, nothing else. So they know that I can just make what they want. And then I went to another kind of event in Royal Neuro Disability Hospital, because they had this room you can hire and sell to their staff. And I had different essential oils, and this lady said, I want this, pour it together and make it for me. And I did, and she really liked it. So that people know that I can make unique combinations for them, and they just like that as well. Yeah,
That's superb. That is really good. And I think that is the beauty of having the natural product there and knowing what you're doing in combining things.
yeah.
I've talked a lot with various people about food labeling, chemicals in foods, etc. And I used to go to craft fairs with a product that I sold. And there was one particular lady that was also there, and she did handmade soaps. And she put a lot of care and attention into making her soaps. They were beautiful, beautiful shapes. But oh my goodness, whenever I was arranging the craft fair, I had her at one end of the room and me at the other, because the scent that came off, the only way I can describe it was it got into my tongue. And
Amazing.
all I could do was taste it.
Amazing.
And I said, and it wasn't pleasant. And I
Oh,
said to her one day, you'd be beautiful, beautiful, really strongly scented. And the lady's puffing away on a cigarette. And she says, yeah, well, I've got no sense of smell, so I don't know how strong they are.
no.
So this was quite a revelation. Very popular. Her soaps and her shapes and everything. She did a roaring trade. Lots of people absolutely loved her. Wasn't for me.
Yeah. And was she born with no sense of smell?
No. She said it had gone over a period of time, and I'm
Oh,
thinking I'm
interesting.
hardly surprised here.
Interesting. That's fascinating, because if she lost the sense of smell through COVID or any virus, she can train it to come back. Every one of us have that special. Our brain sense of smell is so important that if we lose it through any virus, we can train it to come back over time, over at least 10 weeks. So I met someone. She said to me, "Oh, Yewande, did you sell these essential oils? Because I do sell essential oils." And I said, "Yes." And she said, "I've been to see an ear nose specialist even before COVID, and she said, asked me to smell 4 essential oils morning and night, and then she started getting a smell back in the first 10 weeks, and within 2 years, by training, she got all her sense of smell back." And it was debilitating for her, because when she went to restaurants, she couldn't taste anything, she couldn't smell anything, because a lot of our smell and taste are linked. So thankfully, she was able to get her smell back by buying those essential oils from me.
Oh,
Great.
that's interesting. I might have to have a conversation with you about that. My husband is an engineer, and he worked with chemicals for a long time, one of which was called toluene. And in order to work with toluene, he needed to be in a full chemical face mask with an air pipe that went to an air supply outside. But it has damaged his, aren't they called olfactory sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he has no sense of smell, or no significant sense of smell, and no significant sense of taste. And it is quite funny. We'll eat something that is the same, and I'll go, "Oh, that was so orangey," and he'll go, "It was bland."
Oh.
And I'll go, not enough orange for you. I get it. I get it. And doing a taste test on maybe some gravy I've made or whatever, and stupidly I say to him every time, "What does that need?" And he'll go, "Oh, I think that needs salt," or "I think that needs sugar," and it probably doesn't need either, because
Exactly.
it's probably absolutely balanced, but that's what he thinks. It is really quite funny. And as you say, the two are linked. But my point with the lady with the soap is she used all synthetic products, and I think that contributes to the smell, whereas yours being natural wouldn't have that overpowering sense of, oh my goodness,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lady, she used to go past another shop, and she said she used to sneeze and sneeze and sneeze, and then when she bought some of mine, she just didn't sneeze anymore. It was amazing.
That was me in Lush, the shop
The
Lush.
one, yes.
I had to cross the road, I absolutely adored Lush. I adored everything they stood for. My
Yes.
problem was it was just too strong.
Yeah.
And back in the day, I went on holiday to south of France, and friend and I went to a perfumery, and we
Mm,
did the tour, and I loved it. But three
yeah.
quarters of the way round, I said to her, "I'm sorry, I have to leave."
Too
And she looked at
strong.
me, she said, "You look awful," and the scents were just assailing me,
Mm,
and I had to get out of there and breathe fresh air.
yeah.
It was the strangest thing.
Yeah.
So we've talked about sleep. Wellness expert, talk to me about that.
So wellness expert is, so many people come up to me with different things. The main thing, one of them, there's probably a few main things. One of it is dry skin. Almost everyone has a certain part of their body that's dry skin. So I talk to them about how to make it better by drinking more water, by using pure oils, by using pure butters, by making sure they do layering. So layering is really important because you're doing different layers into your skin while it's slightly damp. So you do something like aloe vera, and then you use something like shea butter or avocado butter, and then you seal it with the beeswax, something with beeswax, or something with jojoba oil, because they're kind of waxy. So by doing those 3 layers, it should get rid of the dry skin within time. And you need to give it at least 3 weeks and do something consistently every day, because our body wants to keep us alive, and sometimes it's the skin that's got the least energy, because it's putting energy into keeping you alive and making sure that you're living. So sometimes people have dry skin. It could be wind, it could be sun, it could be contact dermatitis. So they contact they've got a hand on something, and it kind of gives them something else that, it could be, or lots of different things. But I try to explain to the reasons why you have something. So some people can have, really dry skin, or they can have really greasy skin, and there's some sort of imbalance between it. Because when I was younger, I used to have really, really greasy skin. Then I discovered I've got sensitive skin. So what I did, it took me about 4 years to actually make sure the skin on my face was normal, by using something like lavender tea or chamomile tea, cooled down in a clean bottle, kept in the fridge to clean my face morning and night. And it took me all that time to make it normal, because your body is something that can be quite complicated, and sometimes you don't really know why, because it could be your genetics, it could be your predispositions, it could be what you eat, it could be lots and lots of things, your experience, trauma, so that you're getting to know yourself and treat yourself gently, so that whatever comes up you can deal with in a loving, gentle way.
Yeah, I think that's really key for so much in life. You talked earlier about the inner voices that were talking to you, and I think every single one of us talks to ourselves
Yeah.
harshly.
Yes.
If we were to lighten up on ourselves and
Yes.
go, "Legs, I love you. You've held me today. I think that's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you."
Yeah.
And it's about that daily gratitude, and it will
Exactly.
it will give you a ripple out effect. Um,
Exactly.
we've talked about the horrors that are in the world, but you know what?
Mm.
A ripple of love starts with us.
Exactly. We have to be careful about how we speak to ourselves, the way, because sometimes we're harsher to ourselves than a friend. I mean, sometimes the way we treat ourselves wouldn't treat, a friend. We might say to, "Oh, I'm lazy," but you're not lazy. You might be tired, or you might be stressed. Sometimes I have to really be careful about what even I say to myself in my mind, because I wouldn't talk to my friend like that. So it's something I've been working on, and saying, please be more compassionate with yourself, be more understanding, be more careful, because we care about other people. A lot of us, we care about other people. We care for our mom, our children, or this. Sometimes we come last,
Always.
not
Yeah.
deliberately, but you know what I mean. Because especially since I first had my children, I always put them first. And now they were older, I'm looking after my mum, and then I've got like a hole in my life. I'm thinking, well, who else should I be looking after? Then it's like a bad habit, but I'm learning to kind of redress the balance a bit.
Good. That's lovely. So come on, I want all of my viewers to have the same giggle that you and I had. on LinkedIn, you refer to yourself as a hospitality advocate. How did that come about?
So I was trying to get into this show, hospitality show in Olympia, because the previous year it was free, and then they were going to charge me a lot of money. I think it was like £200 or something. I'm thinking that's not in my budget. So I put hospitality advocate into my LinkedIn, just to explain that yes, I do give room sprays and diffusers to people who have service departments, Airbnbs, and I'm pitching some hotels to kind of try and buy products from me, because some of their employees have bought products from me. So I put hospitality advocate, and then in my mind I've done lots of hospitality anyway. I have guests come to my house, my children's friends always coming around since they were teenagers for cake, tea, coffee, Wi-Fi, chat. So
yeah, absolutely. So for those of you watching who don't do these big shows, when you go, your tickets to get in are free. But you have to have some sort of connection to whatever
exactly,
the show is. So I've been to the NEC on several occasions, to Spring Fair and Autumn Fair,
yeah,
which are the two biggest fairs for e-commerce sellers. Well, that's fine. I do e-commerce sales.
yeah.
We were up in the Birmingham area, probably for Spring Fair actually, and the day before there was a different show on, and I believe it was called Flood X, and it was all to do with drainage and water systems, and nothing to do with what we got. But we thought while we were up there, we might as well go pound the pavements and see if we could drum up some more trade for our own business. So we sat there between us and went, right, what are we going to do? And I said, I think we just write down that we're e-commerce sellers. We don't have to specify what we sell.
Exactly.
We're just e-commerce sellers.
Yeah, it's true.
Say if anyone asks you, so I'm going to say that I do drain unblockers, because I did.
Yeah.
I sold drain unblockers. So now every year I get an invite from FloodX to go back.
Yay! Fantastic.
So sometimes you just have to, as you did, you just have to think outside the box sometimes. I know going to this show is going to help me.
Yeah.
So what do I need to say? How do I need to present myself in the best light? And so I think that's lovely. Hospitality advocate, absolutely superb. Yewande, it has been a dream talking to you today.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
I'm fairly sure that my viewers are going to want you back at a later date. And maybe we can expand on calming breathing and just inner voice chatter and stuff like that. By the time this goes out to my viewers, I will have already contacted you, because I have a friend moving house. And I've got a very specific requirement for some tailored diffusers or house sprays or whatever for her. So you and I will have a conversation offline about that. All of your details that you will give to me, there will have been a front screen, there will be an end screen, so people know how to contact you and how to buy your products or find out about your sleep clinics. And if they feel that they want to come, then I'll get them to get in touch with you directly.
They're very welcome.
So thank you very much for today, Yewande. I will stop the recording and speak to you all soon.